Sarah stares at her bookshelf, dust collecting on the beautiful leather-bound Quran her grandmother gave her years ago. She remembers her grandmother's words, "This book has all the answers you seek." But lately, life feels empty despite her successful career and busy social life. Something's missing. She picks up the Quran, running her fingers over its cover. 30 days, she whispers to herself. I'll give it 30 days. The first few days are harder than she expected. Sarah struggles to maintain focus, her mind wandering to work emails and social media notifications. She only manages to read a few verses, barely understanding their meaning. But there's one verse that catches her attention, speaking about patience. She writes it down in her journal, something she hasn't done in years. A week in, Sarah starts using a translation app alongside her reading. The words begin to take on new meaning. During a difficult meeting at work, she remembers the verse about patience she wrote down. For the first time, she feels the Quran speaking to her real life, not just as ancient text, but as living guidance. Sarah notices small changes. She's sleeping better, feeling less anxious. Instead of reaching for her phone first thing in the morning, she reaches for the Quran. Her colleagues notice too. You seem different, they say, more peaceful somehow. She smiles, knowing the source of her growing inner peace. Halfway through her journey, Sarah faces a crisis at work. A project fails, and her boss is furious. Before, she would have broken down, but today she remembers the verses about trusting in Allah's plan. She handles the situation with surprising calmness, finding solutions instead of dwelling on problems. Sarah discovers a verse about kindness that moves her to tears. She thinks about her relationship with her parents, how distant she's become. That evening, she calls her mother, not out of obligation, but with genuine desire to connect. The conversation flows naturally, filled with warmth she thought was lost. The verses about gratitude begin to transform Sarah's perspective. She starts a gratitude journal, writing down 3 blessings each day. Her expensive coffee doesn't bring as much joy anymore. Instead, she finds herself grateful for the sunrise, for good health, for the ability to understand and read these divine words. Sarah faces her biggest test when she learns her position at work might be eliminated. Instead of panic, she turns to the Quran. The verses about provision and trust in Allah bring her genuine comfort. She realizes her worth isn't tied to her job title. It's in being a servant of Allah. Sarah notices how her social media time has naturally decreased. The endless scrolling doesn't appeal to her like it used to. She finds more satisfaction in contemplating the verses she reads, in the quiet moments of reflection. Her friends notice she's more present in conversations, more thoughtful in her words. On the final day, Sarah sits with her Quran at dawn, tears flowing freely. She realizes this isn't an end, but a beginning. The book that gathered dust for so long has become her companion, her guide, her source of strength. The verses are now highlighting different parts of her life, her work, relationships, daily choices, all illuminated by divine wisdom. Months later, Sarah's grandmother visits and sees the well-worn Quran on Sarah's bedside table. She notices the sticky notes marking pages, the journal filled with reflections beside it. You found the answers, her grandmother says softly. Sarah smiles. No, grandmother. I found the questions I needed to ask, and the Quran showed me how to live the answers. The transformation wasn't just in reading words on pages. It was in living them, in letting them seep into every aspect of life. Sarah learned that the Quran doesn't change your life in 30 days. It gives you the tools to change your life every day, one verse at a time. For anyone starting this journey, remember, the Quran doesn't just want to be read, it wants to be lived. It's not about how many pages you cover, but how deeply you let the words cover your heart. Your 30-day journey might look different from Sarah's, but the destination is the same, a life illuminated by divine guidance, transformed by divine words.